Hey, all you monkey bar gymmers out there, here's the next cycle workouts. Monday's workout is going to be 4 times as many as possible sets of whatever rep scheme that you're at. Stability is 4 times 15, strength 4 times 8, and so is power 4 times 8, generally. You know, if you have somebody at 4 sets of 4, that's cool. Next week work up to 4 sets of 5, like that. Until you get them up to 8, then they go to a higher level of the exercise. The first 2 exercises that you're going to alternate are jungle gym slide throughs, which we haven't done in a long time, and cliffhanger or rope climbs. The slide throughs, stability level folks, you're going to use a 12-inch box. They're going to do a push-up. Now if they're really out of shape, same thing, you just use a 24-inch box. Okay, you just got to move it up so that it's appropriate for them to do 15 reps. So a push-up, they can walk their feet through, and a dip, that's 1 rep. Now for sure, for stability level folks, if they don't have shoes on, they can slide their feet through on both directions, and using a 24-inch box is totally fine for them. For strength level folks, we're going to come down here to the jungle gym. We're going to do basically the same exercise. Have the jungle gym a little between 12 and 18 inches off the floor. They're going to do a push-up, and then from here, if they can, they jump their feet to the front side, and then jump the feet to the back. If they can't, and they walk it up, that's a progression to actually jumping their feet all the way through. Power level, doing the same movement, so now we're going to put a wheel on the feet. Drop the toes in. This one takes a lot more stability, but man, it's a fun exercise. So, incline plane, do a push-up, bring the knees to the chest, roll the wheel through to a dip. So you can see how much instability can happen there. 4 sets of 8 of that will crush folks. All right? So that's your pressing exercise. Pulling exercise, you're going to do either a rope climb or a cliffhanger crawl. If you don't have cliffhanger bars, you know, you can do traveling rings. You can do stuff across the bars, like even just back and forth across a bar like this. You know, back and forth, 1, 2, like that. Cliffhanger bar, you know, you're going to have to figure out what your 8 rep count is, all the way up to the top, all the way down. Maybe it's 3 times, maybe it's 4 times up to the top and back. Alternative is a rope climb using your legs. Not using your legs would be 4 times to the top. The only thing I suggest, what I've shown you guys at the courses, is do for stability level, have them hold it here and do 90-degree assisted rope chin-ups. That's the basic one. That's easy for them to do. You know how to make it easier, just move them back to 60 degrees. So your pulls are rope or cliffhanger bars. If you don't have the cliffhanger bars, use a straight bar and hand over hand. If you want to make it a little harder, have them stay high and just go hand over hand like that and not take the big grabs, all right? So that's your body weight version of Mondays. Now you can do the same thing that we did in this last cycle, where you have a kettlebell alternative to it. So we just can take kettlebells here. For stability level folks, they can be in a bent over row position, and they can go both at the same time, or they can go alternates. Now, I generally do alternates if they have a hard time lifting the weights off the ground at the same time. So something like this, but almost 100% of the weight's on their legs. Now for strength and power level folks, I do not advise doing renegade rows on a padded floor. So take the bells off the floor, put them on a hard surface. Strength level folks, as we know, we want a little more weight on the hands. You're pulling back and up to the ribs. Power level folks, make sure you get them in that straight incline plane position. And then challenge them. Make sure, you know, they're challenged accordingly. People are a lot stronger at these exercises than you understand. Okay? So they're going to do 4 sets of the rep count that we suggested on those exercises. If you want to alternate it every week, they do the kettlebells 1 week and the body weight, or mix match it however they want. Key thing is, they got 4 exercises there that they can vary every single week. and change up.
Gotta show the back presses.
Huh?
Gotta show the back presses.
Yeah, that would help, huh?
That's the fourth exercise.
I forgot. Okay, so the press. The back press is from here. An important part of doing a nice back press is squeezing the lats here, making sure that it's really tight here. If you see your students, the elbows coming out a little bit, that's where you're going to get weakness. So right from the get-go, when they grab it, bring it to the chest, turn over, bring it in. Right from here, you'll see this position here a lot, where the weights are sitting on their arms. I want that forearms vertical as you can get from here and the wrist straight. From here, feet are in a nice ready position here, and start squeezing the lats down like somebody's tickling it. And then as you breathe in, the movement begins from the foot. And you're almost punching towards vertical above your own hip. And then bring it down, squeezing the lat and going right to the other side. Key is on this, guys, though, is the movement begins at the hip. Don't just start pressing. Everything moves. You see that? It's just like punching. If you do that properly, they'll be really strong at it. Second thing, when you're doing this motion, if you're going to spot somebody, I like to have them punch right towards the chin, and you can spot it just by sort of holding on to the fist, the top of the bell handle if you want, and just sort of moving with them like this until they feel comfortable with the movement. Okay? That's a great way to do that exercise. So that's Mondays, unless, did I forget something, Jesse?
Yep, you forgot the broad jumps, which is the end, and the buyout.
That's the upper body part. I knew that, Jesse. So that's the upper body part for Monday's workout. The legs, we're going to do a 2-1 none of broad jumps. You know, you can have them jump all the way across the floor. You can have them do about 6 jumps as far as possible. It depends on your floor size. Stability level, folks, they're going to do Hindu squats, I believe, with the power jumper. And check, they could do 2-1 none of that as well, couldn't they? Is that what it says?
Actually, it's cable full extensions.
Okay, I knew that. So instead of broad jumps for stability level, let's have them go heavy, medium, and light on cable full extensions, and work on keep maintaining that nice long spine. Pay attention to when the knees start to flare out when they're doing hip extension movements. So one thing you can use is a belt around here or put a yoga block between the shins to help them keep a nice forward direction with the legs and the kneecaps. This helps a ton because when people have weakness in the legs and they do hip extension, one leg most likely will rotate out. So you want to really be conscious of that. So cable full extensions, always keep the hands overhead so that the cable's taut and then hands overhead, never going below the hips and getting a nice full hip extension. I suggest they should be able to do 20 perfect ones with a pretty heavy load before they even begin doing broad jumps. Then for strength and power levels, they're doing the 2-1 non-drills, which you guys know already. Make sure they land quietly and controlled heel-toe. And then each week of the cycle, make sure that they keep track of their numbers and distance that they're doing for X amount of jumps. Okay, so that's the hip extension exercise. The buyout is a tough one. It's a foot-up lunge. It's one set. So they're going to get here. So they're going to start on the weak leg first. Fist and knee touch the ground and leave the ground at the same time. They're going to go all the way to full extension of the leg and back down. The goal is 50 in a row. Now if they can't do 50 in a row, maybe they have to break it up into 4 or 5 sets. The goal is one set of 50. Rest a minute and do one set of 50 on the other leg. Now this is hardcore. So this is the challenge to all your students. Can they do it? Remember, they got to touch the fist and the knee at the same exact time. Stability level folks most likely will not be able to do that. So maybe you put a yoga block below their hands and they just reach and touch with their fingertips to shorten up their range dramatically. All right? So I believe that's the end of Monday's workout. So let me see, and we'll go to Tuesdays so I no longer keep guessing at what we're doing here.